Before we proceed to our main topic for this day, I have prepared here an activity for you to answer. What you are going to do is to solve the crossword puzzle using the list of words and the clues. But let's make it quick. You can now look for that activity in our Google Classroom because that was already uploaded there. So, good morning everyone. I am Nico Cordero and I am going to continue reporting the chapter 4, but this time it's all about interconnecting the three approaches and methods of curriculum integration. Let me ask you, why is there an interconnection or there is an integration between these three approaches? Because it helps to address the productivity and the quality of teaching. Earlier, from our previous reporter, Ms. Tabas have already mentioned and discussed that there are three approaches to integration. But let us have a review again. Again, what are those approaches? First, we have multidisciplinary approach. When we talk about multidisciplinary approach, it is a powerful method of teaching that crosses the boundaries of discipline or curriculum in order to enhance the scope and obtain such learning. Next, we have interdisciplinary approach. When we talk about interdisciplinary approach, it involves appropriately from several disciplines to redefine problems outside of normal boundaries and reach new solutions based on a new understanding of complex situations. The third one is the transdisciplinary approach. It is an approach to curriculum integration which dissolves the boundaries between the conventional disciplines and organizes teaching and learning around the construction of meaning in the context of real-world problems or themes. So, why are these three approaches important? First is that it offers an excellent fit to standards through a backward event process, ensure to integrate standard-based for effective teaching and learning processes. And when we talk about a backward design, it is a process in which educators use to design the learning experiences on instructional technique to achieve specific learning goals. In some cases, research work together in order to create a backward design in regards to their limits and courses. Next is that it offers different maps to begin the design process. So when we talk about the design process, it pertains of determining the needs of the learner to define and go to the objective of instruction. And this is all for or to ensure the quality of instruction. Now, I have here a table showing the three approaches to integration, and let's find out where do they share some similarities and where do they become different with each other. Let's begin with the first aspect, which is the organizing center. The multidisciplinary approach states that standards of the discipline are organized around the theme, meaning an integration of the discipline approach commonly uses a theme and topic to describe an area of subject, meaning there is a subject or theme that are considered to be subordinate in a theme. So when we talk about the theme or thematic theme, topic is used to develop the teaching trend for each and different subject, while the interdisciplinary approach states that interdisciplinary skills and concepts are embedded in disciplinary standards, meaning it involves the combination of two or more academic disciplines in one activity. For example, is research project. In transdisciplinary approach, they talk about organizing center is more on the real-life context, in which the student can carry out activities and solve problems on their own, in which they can able to represent the nature of fresh problem they thought they already experienced the phenomena. In transdisciplinary approach, we also have here student question, and these are different questions created by the students to help demonstrate their understanding of the procedural meaning. The second aspect is the conceptualization of knowledge. Multidisciplinary says that knowledge is best learned through the structure of the disciplines. So what are the structure of disciplines? So these are the building blocks for organization curriculum in which they will be able to engage their students with activities and experiences around the core ideas. And it seems that multidisciplinary approach recognizes single right answer as well as one truth. While in interdisciplinary approach, it states that disciplines are connected by common concepts and skills, meaning They must know which concepts and skills are central to discipline. Next, knowledge is considered to be socially constructed. For example, we see people with different skin colors, and we come up to the idea that people have different race. What is said to be true on objective is the result of social processes. And unlike multidisciplinary approach, it looks for many right answers. Under transdisciplinary, all knowledge are interconnected and interdependent. And when we say interconnected, meaning there is a connection of knowledge based on the fact and based on our prior knowledge. And when we talk about interdependent, it explains that knowledge can be developed from basic up to the higher order thinking. Here, transdisciplinary shares similarities with interdisciplinary approach as they are both looking for many right answers. Also, knowledge here is considered to be intermediate and ambiguous. Ambiguous, it means that knowledge have different definitions and we have different interpretation based on the three approaches given. Moving on to the third aspect, which is the role of disciplines. Procedure of disciplines is considered most important. And why it is considered most important? It is in order to have a clear guidelines and eager to understand the disciplinary policy that will determine or minimize the rewards of inaction for unlawful consideration. Next, we have the distinct skills and concepts of discipline are taught. In interdisciplinary approach, they give emphasis on interdisciplinary skills and concepts, while in transdisciplinary approach, disciplines are identified if desired, but real-life context emphasized, meaning disciplinary action is of course it is necessary, but students should give truthful consideration of their own learning in real-life experiences. The fourth aspect is the role of teachers. The teachers serve as the facilitator, and when we say facilitator, they are teachers to offer support and provide. They provide necessarily scaffolding and teaching skills very necessary. In here, our teachers serve as specialists, and when we talk about specialists, these serve as both teachers that would care, ensuring the student right after the curriculum and get the best education. The same thing goes with interdisciplinary approach, and I am sure that I am already with that, so that there's no need to explain. While in transdisciplinary approach, the role of the teacher serves as the co-planner, and when we talk about co-planner, they find ways to remove the boundary to effective teaching processes while keeping the course more intact. In here, teachers is also a co-learners, meaning educator must be able to learn and understand the way their student understand and analyze. It helps in active learning, especially in assessing problem-based and more generally appropriate understanding of what the best teacher actually do in the classroom. Let's move on to the fifth aspect, the starting place. In multidisciplinary approach, they have disciplinary standards and procedure. So there is an implementation of discipline and ways or procedure that help to guide the learner to properly address the curriculum. Then we have interdisciplinary bridge and the know, do, and be. So what does know, do, and be? Know, meaning what is most important for a student, while do, what is most important the students will be able to do, and be, what kind of person our students want to be in the near future. While in transdisciplinary approach, we have here students, questions, and concern. The goal of student question and concern is to analyze what each discipline has to offer and go beyond what curriculum or what the curriculum can offer to learning of the student. In transdisciplinary approach, real-world context is also given emphasis, and that is based on their interpretation. Let's proceed to the degree of integration. From multidisciplinary approach, it is moderate. The moderate degree of integration focuses mainly on the disciplines and teacher organized standards from disciplines around the team, and it offers teacher a simpler and more efficient ways to base instruction and standards in meaningful ways. While in medium or intense, there is an organization of curriculum around a common learning across the disciplines. So it relates the whole disciplines to part from several disciplines into one problem. Next, we have the paradigm shift. And when we talk about paradigm shift, it is course that teacher organizes the curriculum around the students' questions or concern. So it starts with problem, and then through problem solving, they use the disciplines that contribute to the notion. Let's move on to the next aspect, which is the assessment. In multidisciplinary approach, the assessment is more on discipline based, while in interdisciplinary approach, it is more on interdisciplinary skills and concepts are being emphasized. And as you can see, the same thing happens to transdisciplinary approach. Moving on to learning to know. The three approaches has the same goal, which is the concepts and essential understanding across the disciplines. Next, learning to do. Disciplinary skills as the focal point. When we say focal point, the disciplinary skills serves as the center of attention. Interdisciplinary skills is also included. In transdisciplinary, they add interdisciplinary and disciplinary skills to be applied in real life context. The three of them has three learning to do, but in transdisciplinary there is more on real life situation. Learning to be. First, we have here democratic value. When we talk about democratic values, it is the ideas or beliefs that could make the society fair, including democratic decisions, freedom of speech, as well as equality before the law. Next is the character education. The character education incorporates the values, the essence of emotional maturity, and sense of civic habits of mind. It is a center for independent, successful learner to help them decide on how to cope the choices they may face in their learning journey. The last one is the life skills, and the best example for this one is the teamwork and self-responsibility. Next is the planning process. In the planning process, the three approaches uses backward design, and as what I have said earlier, it is the method of designing an education curriculum by setting goal before choosing instructional method in any course of assessment. The three approaches uses standard based in their planning process, and when we say standard based, it is assistance of instruction, assessment, learning, and academic reporting that are based on student demonstrating understanding of knowledge or skills expected to learn as they progress through the learning or education. The three approaches were also similar when it comes to the alignment of instruction, standards, and assessment. And when we talk about alignment of instruction, meaning assessment should reveal how well the students have learned what they want them to learn, while instruction and ensure that they learn it. And of course, assessment learning objectives must be given emphasis or must be given importance. Now, let us move on to instruction. The three approaches uses constructivist approach, and when we talk about constructivist approach, it is an approach to learning that holds our students to actively construct or make their own knowledge and the reality that determined by the experiences of the learner. Inquiry, the act of asking questions. Next, we have the experiential learning. It yields the process of learning through experiences. In other words, it is learning through reflection of doing. We also have the student choice, and the last is the differentiated instructions. And when we talk about differentiated instruction, it allows or it gives our students support their needs instead of putting them together into a larger community. Seek to enforce one another to be at their best because in a smaller group, we can able to monitor their learning progress. We also have here personal relevance, so meaning it occurs when learning is connected to an individual student's interests and aspirations and especially on the life experiences. We now arrive at the last aspect, which is the assessment. First, we have the balance of traditional and authentic assessment. Let's differentiate traditional from authentic assessment. When we talk about traditional assessment, it assesses a student through the multiple choice, true or false, or the use of response to answer the given questions. While when we talk about authentic assessment, it is a way of how we can assess our students on how they apply knowledge, especially to real world context or real world situation. Next is the culminating activity that integrates disciplines taught. And when we talk about culminating activity, it is a form of assessment in which the students demonstrate their own civic knowledge, skills, attitude, and action. So, it yields that we teachers use culminating activity to highlight the student work for the media, for the school, administration, local government, and especially to the community. Let's now talk about the methods of curriculum integration. I have here 5 methods of curriculum integration. The first one is the project-based learning. Second is the service learning. The third one is the learning center or the parallel disciplines. The fourth one is the team-based and the last one is fusion. First is the project-based learning. It engages students in creating knowledge while enhancing their skills in critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, communication, reasoning, synthesis, and resilience. And that is according to Baron and Darling Hammond 2008 in Corpus 2014. I think what Baron and Darling Hammond wants to tell us is that project-based learning allows the students to determine their capability while working independently. So, it shows that the students are ready to apply desired skills such as doing research. Project-based learning helps develop the student ability to work with his or her peers, building teamwork and, of course, and group skills. What do you think about this method? Was it good, effective, or not? Okay, let's find out. Now, let's take a look at the result or outcomes after this method have been implemented. As a result, according to Curtis, 2002, he revealed that project-based program shows that the student go far beyond the minimum effort, make connections among different subject areas to an open-ended questions, retain what they have learned, apply learning to real-life problems, have fewer discipline problems, and have lower absenteeism. So this method is really effective. The implementation outcomes only says that using project-based learning, we let our learners to think beyond their prior knowledge. Project-based learning motivates the students where they can able to connect to content areas while increasing their knowledge. And it is a way to engage our students in giving the ownership over their own learning. So this serves as bridges between phenomena in the classroom, especially in the real life context. Next, we have service learning. It refers to learning that actively involves students in a wide range of experiences, which often benefits others and the community while also advancing the goals of a given curriculum. This time, it is different as this approach combines learning objectives to the community so as in order to provide pragmatic progressive learning experiences while meeting the social need. When you hear the word service learning, what comes to your mind? You might commonly hear it related to terms such as civic engagement, community development, advocacy, philanthropy, social change, volunteerism, community service, and experiential learning. As a result, Glenn 2001 found that more than 80% of the schools that integrate service learning into the classroom report an improvement in grade point average of participating students of the discipline and enhanced sense of civic responsibility, and that is according to ASCD 2004. Well, of course, this is what most likely to happen. As we let our learner engage in a community services, we allow our student to actively participate to their community. We also move them on how to become more responsible and how to become more participative in the community activity. Aside from the fact that students earn better grades and it lower absenteeism, it boosts self-esteem and students become more civic-minded. The third method is the learning centers or parallel disciplines. And it says that a popular way to integrate the curriculum is to address the topic or theme through lenses of several subject areas. And in an elementary classroom, students usually experience these kinds of approach through learning centers. For example, for a theme such as patterns, so each learning center has an activity that will let the students explore what is patterns from perspective of point disciplines. So in higher grades, also students usually study a topic or theme in different classroom. For example, students read the novel Red Badge of Courage in English while studying the Civil War in history. Through this, the student will engage and make connection of themselves about a topic or theme through this kind of method, which is the learning centers or the parallel disciplines. And as a result, according to a study by Carnegie Mellon University or CMU, learning centers in the classroom can affect the ability to focus and study among young children, where in fact, learning centers allow children to role play in order to understand and make sense of the real world and their personal experiences in it. Meaning, this method helps children understand the social world and develop communication skills and build relationships. Next, we have team-based. Some educators go beyond sequencing content and plan collaboratively, and they do it in more intensive way of working with a team dubbed as team-based. In team-based, three or more areas are involved in the study, and usually the unit ends with an integrated culminating activity. Units of several weeks duration may emerge from this process and the whole school may be involved. Now, let's talk about its implementation outcome. Using team-based learning, students can exhibit excellent on-task behavior and work collaboratively. So, this method will allow the students to exhibit an excellent on-task behavior because of the culminating activity that will let the students to work together and work collaboratively, and also by this teachers will enjoy the process and the result. Oh, I forgot, not only just the teachers, because in team-based learning it is so much fun for children. They are learning about topics that are meaningful and relevant to their own lives. This creates what is known as intrinsic motivation, or in other words, children learn because they want to learn, not because they have to learn. And when children want to learn, the quality of their learning is unquestionably superior. Did you know that team-based learning also requires hands-on approaches, including project-based learning, which makes it an active approach to learning? Again, that is all for enhancing the level of engagement. Let's move on to the last method, which is fusion. In this method, teacher use skills, knowledge, or even attitudes into the regular school curriculum. In reading, for example, students analyze positive characteristics of people in stories and social studies. And in social studies, they learn the importance of cultures working together. And literacy across the curriculum is another example of fusion, as well as technology across the curriculum with computer skills integrated into every subject area. In this method, many schools emphasize positive work habits in each subject area. And as what I have said earlier, educators can also fuse technology across the curriculum. And as a result, fusion brings positive gains in student achievement resulting from integrated instruction in the classroom. It also revealed that students make connections. Well, of course, that is what fusion might possibly imply, make connections. But this time, it is connections among disciplines, values, concepts, content, and life experiences. And that would be all, and thank you for listening.